Title: You Don't Owe People Silence. Just Because They Share Your Last Name by Odell Shipley. Have you ever been so invisible in a room that your silence speaks louder than anyone's voice? Hi, I'm Odell. 2 weeks ago, my sister screamed at me in front of our parents. "You've ruined our lives." And they nodded, like it was true. I didn't yell, I didn't cry. I just picked up my bag and walked out. Nothing but silence wrapped around me like armor. Now, this morning, I wake to 14 missed calls. They say they need me. Funny how people remember your name when their reputation is in flames. Before we dive in, what time are you listening to this? And where from? Drop a comment. Because maybe, like me, you've been erased too, until they realized they needed the one they discarded. It was already dark outside, but inside the house, the air was heavier. My sister Seraphine, perfectly poised on the cream sectional, glowed in her ring light. She was finishing a live stream celebrating 50,000 followers. My parents nodded along, like she'd just gotten her PhD. I stood in the doorway, clutching a chipped mug of tea I'd reheated twice. My name hadn't been mentioned once. Then it happened. Her screen flickered. Her voice jumped. "Oh my God, not now!" Her smile dropped. "Why does this always happen when you're around?" she snapped. I blinked. "What?" "You stress me out just by breathing, Odell. You throw off my vibe." I waited for someone to say something. But instead, my mother brushed imaginary lint off her lap. "She's not wrong," Verena said calmly. "Every time something good happens, you find a way to ruin it. You've ruined her life. Honestly, you've ruined ours too." My father just rubbed the bridge of his nose like this was routine. I didn't scream. I didn't argue. I turned, walked. To the guest room they begrudgingly offered me and packed a few essentials. No framed photos, no letters, just enough to leave. 15 minutes later, I walked out. No one stopped me. I ended up in a motel downtown Charlotte. The kind of place with flickering neon and no questions asked. I paid my last $42 and sank onto a creaky mattress, staring at a water stain shaped like a broken heart. My phone hadn't. Buzzed once, until it did. One single notification, reminder, unopened Mother's Day gift from Odell, delivered 2 years ago, wrapped in tissue paper, silk handkerchiefs. Her initials monogrammed. She never opened it. They never opened me. The next morning, with $270 to my name, I walked into a cafe that offered cheap coffee and free Wi-Fi. I pulled up old tutoring sites I hadn't touched in years, updated my profile. Patient, reliable. I believe in showing up, even when no one else does. By the end of the week, I had 3 clients. I taught out of a borrowed Chromebook at the library. Every dollar earned was a tiny step back toward dignity. And the students? They saw me. One said, "You're the only person who's explained this in a way that makes sense." For once, I felt something close to pride. But pride doesn't last long when your sister posts a new family photo. Perfect, glossy, staged, and you're not in it. Not cropped, not blurred, just gone. Even the dog they got after I moved out was front and center, and then came the email. I'd been CC'd on a podcast pitch. Seraphine's words at the bottom. My sister's just bitter and emotionally unstable. We don't talk for a reason. I don't want her involved. It's taken years to rebuild the family's image. That wasn't petty. That was calculated. I printed the email, taped it to the wall beside a letter I later discovered. Grandma's letter. One my mom had hidden. It read, "You will build what no one sees today." One believed I could build. One believed I didn't matter. A week later, a SAT prep company offered me $75 per session. That meant I could move out. A real place. A door that locked. Then came another knock. This time, my former best friend, Mileus. She found the sealed birthday letter I wrote to my mother, stuffed under expired coupons. Inside, I'd written, "If there's still a space in your heart for me, I'd..." Like to sit there again. I miss you. She never opened it. And then came the truth. Seraphine had stolen my entire tutoring platform. Word for word, I printed the proof. I mapped out everything. When my father finally called, it wasn't to apologize. We need your help. Your sister's getting dragged online. People are calling it plagiarism. She says you're lying. Of course. They only call when they need me to clean up their fire. But this time, I wasn't just burned. I was ready. I found Grandma's will. The clause naming me as sole heir to her curriculum work. Legally protected. My name. My right. I printed it. Took it to a lawyer. Margot said, "You don't need a lawsuit to take back what's yours. You just need a notice." But the attacks didn't stop. Copyright strikes, site takedowns, false claims. So I fought back. I recorded a video. Calm, clear, documented. They say silence is strength, but sometimes truth needs a voice. This is mine. I showed the will, the receipts, the timestamps. It went viral. Then came the last offer. A settlement, 6 figures. But only if I stayed silent, deleted the truth, signed away my voice. I shredded the papers. Then I posted, "You don't owe people silence just because they share your last name. I won't take hush money for pain I didn't cause." And people listened. Women, daughters, teachers, scapegoats. Thank you for saying what I couldn't. Now, in my own home office, I hung Grandma's note. You will build what no one sees today. Beside it, the official letter from my lawyer. Ownership affirmed. IP protected. They haven't called since. Not on birthdays. Not when Seraphine's site was shut down. Not when Mom sold the house. I didn't fight to punish them. I fought to free myself, and freedom, it's quieter than I imagined, but never empty. Last month, I launched a scholarship in my grandmother's name. One thank you note read, "You were the first person who told me I could do it. I believed you." I held that letter for a long time, not because it hurt, but because it didn't. A few days ago, I mailed a folded copy of Grandma's note to a girl I once tutored, someone whose parents told her she was too much, too loud, too hopeful. Maybe one day she'll find herself in a motel room, too, and maybe those words will carry her like they carried me. Have you ever stopped chasing the apology that never came and realized peace was the real closure? Have you ever been erased by your own family and still built something that couldn't be ignored? Share your story. Someone's listening.